So we've got the hood done and we've sewn the hood on. So now, before we do anything else, we need to sew up the sides. So what we'll do is we'll put right sides together and pin from the bottom of your hoodie to the armpit to the end of your wrist. So before we do anything, we're going to match the seams where our arms join. I'm going to turn this seam over this way because I'm following what I did with my neckline. And on this side, since it doesn't matter, I'm going to put this seam over on the other side. So I don't have as much material to sew over. What I really want to do is make sure that this inside seam matches perfectly. So that's what I'm going to pin first. You can see that this seam is over on this side, and on this side this seam is over on there, and this center matches. From here I can go all the way down the body and pin the material together and all the way down the arm. So I will take the material and it's easiest if you hold it up, because it doesn't matter if it's not sitting properly because you're going to put it there properly. And you're going to pin from under the arm and line up your edges, your raw edges, and you're just going to pin all the way down the body. Now I'm going to go from the body to the arm, and I'm going to start at the underarm, and I'm going to do the same thing, lining up the material, raw edges, making sure they're perfectly together, and pinning all the way down. To the wrist of your arm. Now remember that there is a jut out. It goes out. The reason it does that is because when you fold it over at this line, it's going to match perfectly with that. So you're going to pin it, and it's almost like a pivot, but it's not that dramatic. So at this point, you're going to go this from here, you're going to take a seam that goes up that way. So I'm looking at the neckline, this seam goes in this way, so I'm going to make sure that it's folded that way. This one is going to go in the opposite direction, and I'm lining these seams up. That's the most important thing to do before you do anything else. Making sure that the material, that your seams match. So that's what this is going to look like. And we've got both sides done. Now we can start at the bottom. We can start at either this end or the bottom of your arm, and you're going to sew a 5/8 seam all the way around, pivot here at your armpit a little bit, and then down to the other end. Remember to back stitch at the beginning and the end of the seam on both sides of your hoodie. Remember that we're at a stitch number 1. We're at a stitch length, or a needle position of 0 and a stitch length of 2. I'm going to start at the bottom because the pins come out nicely this way for me. 5/8 seam Gets a little tricky at the bend here. So I'm going to make sure that my material is nice and flat. I don't have any of the other material from the part of the hoodie anywhere near this. And even though I've got this here, I'm going to be pivoting in this corner. So I'm making sure that the material is where it's supposed to be. And at this corner, now I'm going to make sure that my needle is in, presser foot up, pivot, make sure I'm at 5/8, presser foot down. I can take the needle out because the presser foot and the needle is in. So now I'm going to continue to sew. Remember to pull the material just a bit so that you've got a bit of stretch, so that if you do stretch your hoodie when you put it on, it doesn't break the threads. Now we don't have to do a pivot here, but there is an edge or another direction, so that we're going to make sure that we go straight and then we make that curve so that we're going in this direction to maintain that 5/8. Because I've used the red pen as the marker, the red pin for the marker when that bend happens, I'm going to make sure that I'm bringing my needle right up to the pin. Now I can take it out. Now I know that this is where I'm going to pivot. So I am going to make sure my needle is in, pull my presser foot up, tilt my material so that now I can do a 5/8 line here. Now I can trim my threads. This time I'm going to start at the end of the sleeve, remembering to get that angle, pivot here, and then continue. I have this yellow pin at the angle where I'm going to pivot, so I'm going to remember to back stitch, straight stitch to the top here, and then I will make sure that I pivot. Again, I'm going to be pivoting. My marker for pivoting is the seam. needle in, presser foot up, pivot, presser foot down. Make sure that you don't have any overlapping material underneath. Now we're going to continue with the 5/8 with a bit of stretch to the material.